What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about another convergence install. Listen, I'm going to be doing a lot of convergence install videos in the next couple of weeks. So, I know the content is probably going to get a little repetitive. However, this is the first convergence install with the hybrid Brass and MJF Nylon chassis that both Jeremy and myself worked on. Actually, Jeremy did the crystal chamber for this one and I did the chassis. We split that. So I do want to come into Fusion and talk about this chassis and crystal chamber. It's something that both of us are really proud and happy with the result. And then we will come up top, do a quick demo. I will talk about the hilt. This hilt is weathered, as well as the brass parts for the crystal chamber and chassis. So we'll talk about all of that, and then we will put a blade in it, and then I'll let everybody go, right? So let's come into Fusion. So here it is. This is the chassis and crystal chamber for the convergence, okay? I'm going to start with the chassis down here, all right? So obviously with this particular hilt, right, we already have an exposed crystal chamber in the upper section of the hilt. That's something that both Jeremy and I designed into the hilt. Both of us really like exposed crystal chambers and hilts. So that was already in the top section, right? So when I went about designing the chassis, I didn't necessarily want a secondary crystal chamber. I wanted to do something a little different, right? And something that I have been doing a lot of lately is just a decorative brass upper section, all right? And that is what we have in this chassis. But let's start at the bottom. All right, we've got a 28 millimeter speaker down here. I do have two channels for my wire management, right? So I do have a kill switch down here as well. So I have to make room for two leads for my kill switch. God, I have got to get better at navigating in Fusion. I've got two leads for my kill switch that come up here. All right, I've got a lead for my negative battery tab and then the two conductors for my speaker, right? So those all come up, those two wire channels up into the Proffie board area. This is a Proffie board build. All right, so 28 millimeter speaker down here. Here is the Proffie board tray. All right, the Proffie board does slide up underneath this lip and then pull forward in between or underneath these two forks. All right, kill switch is down here. Some greebly work on both sides of the chassis. Okay, then around back is our battery cover. All right, battery cover is held in place with neodymium magnets. So these are neodymium, bigger neodymium magnets on the chassis side, smaller on the battery cover itself. These are really, really strong magnets. So it helps to secure that battery cover in place a little bit better, okay? Making our way up, here's that decorative upper section, right? So this is a full brass piece, all right? I did, of course, design some holes for rectangular LEDs. They go in these two holes, all right? But that's pretty much it. I tried to get as much detail into this part as I could, all right? Something I do love about brass, especially polished brass, when you weather it, it really, really brings out a lot of these details, right? Some of these ridges and lines. So it looks a lot cooler when it is weathered, okay? And then making our way up, this is Jeremy's crystal chamber. So Jeremy did this crystal chamber. As you can see, it's a little corrupted when I brought it into Fusion, unfortunately. There's some walls missing, but you get the general idea of this crystal chamber. All right, Jeremy did this one. It looks fantastic. I really love the way Jeremy's aesthetics look when it comes to crystal chambers. He does do a lot of these like plasma gate holders kind of around his crystals. So this came out really, really great. And I love the way that it looks. This is secured in the upper section of the hilt with a set screw, all right? And it is lit from below with one single neopixel, all right? But that's it. That is the crystal chamber and chassis combo for the convergence. Let's come up top. All right, so here it is, the convergence installed with the hybrid chassis. Okay, so something that I have been completely neglecting to mention in previous convergence videos are some of the things that we are including with the hilt, right? So I include a sticker, a Tierfon Orbital sticker with my installs and a couple of other things. I think I've been doing some pins as well, some custom Tierfon pins. But something that we are doing specifically for this run is I did have a sticker made, which we're really happy with how this came out, all right? So this was done by a friend of ours, a friend of mine. Her name is Audrey. She's Batter Up 619 on Instagram. I hope I'm getting that correctly. But she's an artist, and she did a rendition of both Jeremy and myself as the characters from Breaking Bad, and I really, really love the way that this came out, right? So each one of the hilts ships with one of these, and then Jeremy did some really awesome plaques for every install, right? So each one of these is numbered. These came out badass. They look really great. Jeremy is doing a lot of laser etching in-house now. And this is really cool to offer with each install. So each one will get both of those, obviously. So here it is, right? This has been weathered at the request of the customer. This was weathered by me. My weathering, what it looks like, is just a load of aluminum black. I knock back the aluminum black. I also blacken this inner core, this knurled core. And then I seal everything with Renaissance wax, right? But this has been weathered, obviously. So let's get a look at this chassis, okay? So to get your chassis, you want to unthread that grip. All right. So here is the chassis, okay? You got to make sure I'm in camera here. Here's the chassis. Brass battery cover. Here is that brass decorative upper section. All of the brass has been weathered, okay? And then there's that beautiful crystal chamber that was done by Jeremy in this window here. So really, really great looking hilt with that chassis, in my opinion, right? So this already has, I know I'm biased, right? Would I say that this is not a good looking hilt? It truly is, though. I think we created a really sexy hilt. So battery cover is held in place with those neodymium magnets. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. This already has a battery in it. All right, so when you put your battery in, this chassis orientation has a negative side down towards the speaker. It takes a button top protected 18650 battery, okay? Get your battery in that battery tray, hit your kill switch. So our crystal is lit, okay? There are those two rectangular LEDs that are lit as well. They are set to blink. So in the config, these two are their own blade. The crystal chamber has been set up with a sub blade, so it's tied in line. Data line is tied in line with that main blade emitter, but it has its own blade config, right? And that's it. So once you get your battery in, you can go ahead and put that grip back in place. Okay, you're ready to go. There's that crystal chamber all lit up. All right. And that is it. Let's come down to the bottom. I'm actually going to take the grip back off this because I want to get a closer look at the chassis with the better camera. So there is that brass battery cover, decorative upper section, and then that beautiful crystal chamber, right? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the grip on here now. Okay. So there's that lit crystal chamber. This is Dissonance from KSith. So this particular config has been set up with a couple of custom fonts. This is actually going to my dude Warren over up in Canada, and he did have a couple of font requests that I was able to oblige and put on for him. So this is Dissonance from KSith. Let's go back to Convergence. Oops.
Dissonant. Convergence.
Okay. Let's put a blade in it. All right, so this will take a 7/8 inch blade. There is a red knurled thumb screw back here that will serve as your blade retention. So go ahead and loosen that. Make sure your blade is resting on those PCB pins, and then you can tighten that thumb screw, and you are ready to go. So this config has been set up with twist to activate and twist to deactivate, right? So a quick flick of your wrist will turn the saber on and off. And then, of course, your buttons. So for this config, the top button is your aux, bottom is your main. So tap that main button to turn your hilt on. Tapping the aux will simulate a blaster bolt. Holding down aux and clashing will simulate a lockup. Okay. Let's see what else we've got on here. Oops.
Dissonance.
Revert.
This is Dissonance from K-Sit. This is one of my favorite fonts. I think it sounds so like aggressive, right? Let's see what else we put on here.
Power shuttle.
I am Luke Skywalker.
One more. I think that's all we've got on here.
I'll never join
We
you.
got one.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Okay. So, that's it. And there's that awesome lit crystal chamber, Jeremy's chamber. Okay. So, that's it. That's the Convergence with the hybrid chassis install from myself and Jeremy's awesome crystal chamber, right? So, to the customer, thank you very much for trusting me with your install. Thank you very much for the support. To everyone that jumped on the Convergence pre-orders, thank you very, very much for your support. We are very, very grateful for everyone's continued support in all of our endeavors, right? So anyhow, that is all I've got. If anyone has any questions about this install or the Convergence, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.